Andy, last time we spoke, we talked about Jack leaving and that you were going to offer the captaincy to Martin. Can you just update us on what's happened with that and how the players have reacted to Jack leaving?
Well, firstly, and most importantly, obviously Martin accepted the position. Um, he's taken on the role a couple of times already this season when Jack's either been injured or unavailable, and done a good job. And as I said last week, being one of the senior players in the team and with the experience he's got, he carries a lot of respect from the rest of the players, and they're also happy with that appointment. And so we move on from there. With regards to sort of reaction, yeah, understandably a certain amount of disappointment. I mean, I think they felt that as captain, that Jack maybe could have hung on a little bit longer. They're all very conscious of the fact that it's not an easy season, and some of them deal with it different to others. I mean, Jack obviously was sort of took it quite personally, and certainly didn't hold back about showing his disappointment. And others may just take it, into a quieter area and deal with it that way. But I think they felt that they wanted Jack there a little bit longer. So there's a bit of disappointment, but they've accepted, obviously, that Martin is now leading the side, and we've had a good week so far.
Okay, so moving on from that, you've mentioned that we need some cover at scrum half. How does a club like Newbury with very limited resources go about finding a new player in a specific position?
Well, a certain amount of difficulty. It's been difficult throughout the year. The resources, as you've mentioned, and in some respects, that's the financial resources are such that we just can't go around with a big wad of cash or a checkbook offering to pay players an amount of money which we know we haven't got. So it's quite often a question of one of your current players or somebody that one of the coaching staff knows who they feel would step up. Now, obviously, with Jack being the club captain, anybody that felt that they could offer us a job as a scrum half probably thought twice earlier on in the season, because obviously your captain's a scrum half, and so the chances of you getting some game time are limited. Those people might come forward now knowing that the scrum half isn't the captain anymore, feel that they're prepared to put in some competition. Now, we've got Andy Gale, and Andy does a really good job, but as I said, it won't be a problem in the next few weeks because he's back from university, but once he goes back, getting down here on Tuesday and Thursday is really difficult. Plus, everybody gets injured, and we need to make sure we've got cover. So we are talking to a couple of people, and hopefully early in the new year we will have someone who can step into that position if necessary.
Okay, so it seems like a long time since we've had a game of rugby, and the players must be itching to get out on the pitch.
Yeah, a bit frustrating. Obviously, the week when we were supposed to go into Worthing, it was full of snow. Last week, on Friday lunchtime, I went out onto the pitch with Ali Pankhurst and referee, and it was bone hard. It was rock hard, and the prospects, the temperature, the weather forecast we had in front of us showed that it really wasn't going to warm up significantly. That we felt that it would defrost the pitch enough. And so we took the decision earlier than perhaps some people felt we might have done, and called the game off. We were very conscious of the fact that the team visiting us was going to have to travel from Cambridge, and we wanted to make sure that they were informed as soon as possible. Now, whether we made the right decision or not, we're always going to be shot down in flames. If we'd have hung on and then had to call it off while they were on the way, they would have said, "Why didn't you do it earlier?" It did warm up, and perhaps we could have got a game on. But yes, it's disappointing. The boys are itching to play. The weather's warmed up enough that we trained on Tuesday night for the first time in 2 weeks. A bit disappointing that the game against the RAF was called off last night, because I was keen to just put a few of those guys out to give them half a game and get blow the cobwebs out. And unfortunately, the RAF were struggling to get the personnel together to come and play, so that was called off at late notice. So we'll train again tonight, and hope that the forecast that is for the area doesn't quite hit, but it's not looking good in some respects, but we've got to approach it as if the game is on, really.
Okay, so assuming the game is on, who will be in the squad?
Well, obviously, with not having had any games and the universities are shutting down, so the team probably is as close to what it was been last week as we could have. Um, we've got Tom Fiddler and Ali Widdop and Luke Sawyer in the front row, Andy Cannock and Ben West in the second row, Greg Price at 6. Paul Archer, unfortunately, isn't available to us this weekend. So Ollie Spanswick will start at 7 and Claude at 8. Andy Gale at 9 with Will Clark at 10. Then in the centres, Steve Datcher and Martin Freeman. Two wingers would be Johan Knapp and Ian Herriot. And then Oscar, who we've been desperately trying to get back, playing at 15, is now available. So Oscar will play at 15. And then on the bench, Tom Sanders and Tom Bax will be covering the front row. Harry Sparks will be there covering the back row and the second rows, and then George Strang, who we were hoping was going to play last week, is still itching to play and show us what he's been up to at Leeds, and then David Ferguson as well. So looking quite strong from our point of view, and we're just looking forward to a game of rugby.
Okay, let's hope so. And what are the plans over the Christmas period for the squad?
Despite the fact that we've already had a bit of a layoff, we will take a small break. We've got to be realistic. We're not a professional squad anymore. We can't insist on them turning up. It's getting close to the festive period. The last thing we want is to run a training session and not have a full squad there. So rather than run the risk of that happening, we have made a decision that we won't train next week. There's obviously Christmas Day is a Saturday, so there's no game on then. So we won't train at all next week, and there's no game to train for. And then in the following week, we won't train on the Tuesday, but we will train on the Thursday. There's no game on New Year's Day, and then we will train obviously the Tuesday, Thursday prior to playing Lydney on the 8th. So we'll have 3 good training sessions, weather permitting, leading up to that game, and hopefully the boys will come back refreshed from a Christmas break.
Okay, so happy Christmas to all our viewers.
Indeed, yes, happy Christmas.
And thank you very much, Andy.